Welcome back, students. Today we'll be discussing about coloring and formatting in CSS. And how we'll do that, we'll look into a few moments. But before we go into coloring and formatting, we need to understand that how a color is identified in HTML or in CSS and how they are being used, right? So before going into the coloring properties, let us first identify some basic classes because unless and until we identify the element on which the coloring scheme is to be applied, we cannot do it directly, right? So according to our content, we have a title, then we have some headings like what is HTML, then elements and tags, list of friends. I hope that this is not list of friends. It should be list of fabs. Okay. So this is it. So according to basic styles, we need to give some class names. Like this will be the title. Then this will be your subheading, your title. This is subtitle. Then this will be a link. Then these will be your list items. So that when we do a common styling, then all the elements will look the same, right? So that is the main idea. That is the main criteria. So let us do one thing. We'll just start providing the names. So we have already given a name heading to this content HTML. So let me just remove that. Instead of ID, let us do class based approach. Okay, so this is your title, then H2, this will be your subtitle. Similarly, just let us copy and we'll respectively place it in all the H2s which we have. Let's very quickly let us declare that this is a class list item. Okay, I'll make it first. Now, what about this H2? This is also a heading. So class. Rest of the things let us just leave it for now. Now, one by one, we should do the coloring schemes. Now, when we do some coloring activities in uh, CSS, then first of all, we need to identify, understand. Okay, let us do one thing. We'll define dot title, and the color, for specifying the color, we simply need to use color and specify the name directly. Now, there are certain things which we can do. There are three different types of coloring schemes which you can apply. Number one, you can directly give a name to it like red. So this becomes red in color, right? Second is, if there are some names given to that particular coloring scheme, it's okay. But there is sometimes we don't have the name of that particular color. But instead, we can have another scheme called as your hexadecimal code, or the RGB. Generally, when we talk about them, let us move to the color. There is a Google color picker also. You can use it if you want. Google color picker. This will help us a lot. So so here you can see that there are two different other types of coloring schemes. For example, I am just choosing a color from here. I can choose any color. I can select the base color from here. Let's say I want a reddish type of color. Okay. Then from here you can just select your gradient. Let's say this is the color which I want. Now we can simply pick up this hexa code if you want. Now hexadecimal code is the first two digits will be in hexadecimal code, represents the red color. 87 represents the your green proportion, and 6A represents your blue proportion. Now a number, a value of a red, green and blue proportion as seen in the below example will range from 0 to 255, and that will provide the maximum proportion of its usage. So 255 in the red proportion and other 0 will become pure red, right? So let me pick this color. You can copy this, you can place it directly here, save it, and then if I refresh it here, automatically the color comes here, right? But the best way of doing it is using RGB, which specifies the color values from range to 0 to 255, right? So we just copy this, done. So we just save it, then refresh. Now the advantage of this is, if you want this color to be slightly darkened, okay, we want to darken the color or we want to light that particular color. So what we can do, we can raise the values, right? So for example, from 2004, I would make it as 234. Let this be 75, and let this be 50. So reusing the colors in a particular proportion will just darken the color or lighten the color, right? So if I lower this to, and let this color be same. Yeah. So let's assume that this is my color which I would like to do. Okay. So this is my title color. Similarly, provide a color for your subtitle as well. Subtitle. Now, as because I have specified subtitle to all our H2s, then automatically all the H2s will now have that particular same color, right? So let the color be RGB. I want them to be slightly reddish, so 200 in the red proportion, and GB values can be lowered down. Save it and then run it. So this becomes a particular type of color. Now all the tags, that is the H2 tags, are of this type. No issues. Now this is how we can now color the text. Okay, so coloring schemes are of three types. Number one, you can give the number general color. For example, if I want to set the body color or text color, then I can simply say body, and the body color I'm going to specify as uh, steel blue. Right? So if I run it, so the body color is steel blue. The title is of a different color, and all the H2s are of different. So this is the basic coloring schemes of which we can use for a text. Right now, before moving to the uh, second section, it is important to provide some background. Right, we need to have a background color. Now, background can either be set directly. Right. For example, if this is a body, I can directly set the background, like saying background. Now you will have background color image, but instead of specifying color and image, we can directly use the background property directly. Okay, so if I specify an RGBs, for example, red color, then the background will be totally red. Now if I save this, run it, be ready to, it's a very bad color which I've chosen. But let us understand here that the color which I have provided here is just a direct color. We can change the color from by the use of RGB, which we can do it right now. Like for example, RGB, and in brackets you can say, okay, let it be I don't have any. I have to do the lighter option, so let us put the blue area. But this would be good. So this color, this is fine. So this is your background. Okay? So save it, and now I'm just refreshing it. So this is my background. Now background color can be lowered down if I want to. And you can simply go for, let's say, 95. This would be 2, 4, and this can be. So now it is in the lighter color. It's good. I like backgrounds which are very much lighter. Foreground should be strong or bold. So title color should be bolder enough. Right? Still, we need to adjust the colors as per our. We'll do that later. Okay. So one is this: you can either specify the color, you can make it lighter also by introducing an alpha value. You can do it later on by using alpha value. We will we will lower down the alpha ratio so that it becomes transparent. Okay, so we can make a background transparent if you want by using that feature of alpha. We'll doing it. We'll do that later on. So now either you can give a color to the background, or you can directly specify an image to the background. So if you want to specify an image to the background, you can either have a background image, right? Like I can search for landscape images. Okay, so I'm just searching for landscape images online. Right? It can be any image. Pick one first. Let's get this one. So I'm just picking up the color. And just say right click, copy image address. Now I've just copied the image address and I'll be directly using it here. So instead of using this function RGB, we have to use another function called as URL. And inside that URL, we need to specify the address in double quotes. Now once it is done, this is the complete thing which we have to do. Once we are done it, I'll save it and then I'll show. Now there is a very big problem here. When you specify an image as a background, then automatically it will cover the whole screen. It will repeat itself more than once. Okay. So there is a repeat factor included here. So we need to stop this repeating. In order to do so, what we can do? Just do one thing instead of applying it here. You just create a small work area in between. Div. So let's say class equals to service area to web service area height 64 and width pixels and width 70%. Now let us specify. I'll just show you what I've done. So I have added a new div in between, and inside that particular div I'll be doing some image changes. Right? So let me set the background. So background URL. Now this URL can be an inbuilt path also, like double dot slash img. This can be a relative path as well, and it can be a direct path as well. Like for this particular landscape, I'm just using it. So let me use a lighter one. This one. Copy link address, and then I'm directly pasting it here. Okay. Now if I see the output, so if I change it to background color, what happens? This new area of it. With this 70% height is 40 pixels. Now let me add the URL. Okay. Copy image address. So it's covered. Okay. Now the problem is it is filling up the whole space. I need to directly cover the entire space. Now in order to do that, first of all we need to specify background repeat. Okay. Background repeat should be no repeat. Number one. So now if I save it and then run the code, it will not repeat. Okay, it will not repeat. But I need to specify that okay, yeah, I don't want to repeat it, but I want to make it cover the whole area, the background, right? So for that, it should be like background size should be cover. Now, if I specify cover, then automatically it will cover up the whole area, right? And we need to not specify this now. So first of all, the size should be cover. We need the extra spaces. Save it and then refresh. So background repeat. Should be no repeat. Now, what is this? Contain is also one of the stages. Let us do one thing. We'll just do it right here. Put directly in the policy. And leave it plain here. Now it is repeating itself. I don't want to repeat it. So it should be covered. No, it's coming only once. It is not repeating itself, right? Just specifying the size. Yeah. So the problem was, the point is that whenever we are using the complete page, we should first specify the background, then we should specify the repeat and size and whatever sub properties it has. Right? So we can also specify the size, background size in pixels if I want. So it can be like 50 pixels px will be the width and 100 pixel will be the height. But only this particular area or section will be used as the background image size. So the image size is according to your requirement. So if I specify 100 percentage, right, 100 percentage, and this is also 100 percentage. Now this indicates the complete width and height of the current page, right? So I just refresh it. Now it is all once again moving to the complete page, right? Yeah. But sometimes it may be odd. So this is all we have in this background section, coloring section, and we will do some opacity changes now. For example, if I specify the background color, let us remove this, and instead of specifying a background image, I would like to specify a background color, right? So the color can be like RGB and A. Now a new thing which we would like to introduce is the alpha property. Now the alpha property, apart from the color, let's say this is 255 comma 0 comma 0. Now this is very much red, right? So comma 1 will indicate the total what opacity, that is the complete thing will be red in color. But I would like to do one thing. If instead of 1 we specify a value called as 0.3, this means I would like to have a 30% opacity. It is not a complete opacity, it is 30% opacity. That means 70% will be transparent. Now this will give a new look. Now the complete look will change, and the thing is that the background, the background of the particular image, the body image, is now somewhat transparent, right? So this opacity property, this means 30% opacity. It value ranges between 0 to 1. So if it is 0, that means it is fully opaque, transparent. If it is 1, it is fully opaque, and anything in between 0 to 1, that is 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4 will be the opacity percentage. So 5 will be half 50% opacity. Let us run the code, it is somewhat done. So this is how we'll do the opacity. Right? Apart from this, we have another feature called as gradient. Sometimes when we work with some images, like we want to specify the background, specifying the linear gradient. Now linear gradient first of all specifies what will be the direction. So towards right maybe. This is first option. Second, what will be the colors which you want to display? Like red, then we have green, and then we have blue. Now if I currently render this thing, you can see that the first part is your red, then comes green, and then comes blue, and that is from towards the right hand side. Okay. Similarly, instead of providing the area to be towards the right hand side, we can also make it to bottom right. So this will indicate that the area is here, the target area would be here. So from uh, so the the flow is from top left corner to bottom right corner, right? Now instead of giving the degrees here of a gradient, you can add some colors as well. For example, you have red, green. In between, you can add, okay, let's say white. So this is a gradient type. But the best way would be to give a color in two different formats. RGB, let us pick a color, 234, 56, 123. It's just a color, nothing else. Second, the same color with an alpha property. The alpha property of, let's say, 0. Now this means that the color would be starting from that original color, and it will be it would fade out in the gradual. So this is the best way of representing a gradient color if you want. Now, apart from gradient, linear gradient, we also have another called as radial gradient. Now, linear gradient is used most, but what we can do, we can also use the radial gradient if you want. So let us use that. So background. Now, radial gradient. First of all, you need to specify what type of radial gradient you want. If you don't specify, it will be the default oval gradient. If you don't specify, let's say I'm giving red, then comes green, and then comes blue. Directly run it. Now this is how you will get the radial gradient. Now, if I specify instead of radial, that is oval type, I need a circular gradient. Then you have to specify it in first position. So circle, comma, red, you can give the proportion of percentage of your requirement. So as because it is a radial gradient, it will come from middle to the outside of the circle, to the outside of the color box. So red, I would like it to have 20% of the usage. Green should be for 40% of its usage. But blue must be 55% of its usage. So this is the color combination which I want. In general, all the colors will have the same proportion. But now, let us see what happens. First of all, it's a circular gradient. Blue has 55% of the color sharing, green has 40%, and red has 20%. So this is how it is being distributed. So I hope the color schemes are somewhat over, and one thing which we can discuss now is the text manipulations which we have, text and font manipulations. And for text manipulation and font manipulations, we'll be taking another video specifically for font and textual usage. So I hope that the color schemes and how to use the colors on the text properties is clear to you all, and that will be it.